Day and over in Zion. As we look at our related scriptures, we're going to look at the book of Psalms as it's on page 4 of our pamphlet. And if anyone don't have their pamphlet, I'll just read them out to you. And if you're at home watching us, we're going to look at Psalms 24, 1 through 6. And these scriptures are scriptures that relate to what Christ was teaching on the Beatitudes of true happiness, on the Beatitudes of his kingdom. As once again, Psalms 24, 1 through 6. And Psalms 24, 1 through 6 simply talks about ascending on a hill, seeking God. It talks about having clean hands and a pure heart. Those carry the true qualities of being blessed. And that's what Jesus is here teaching on, and that's why it is related to the 5th chapter of the book of Matthew. Isaiah 66, 1 through 2. As once again, for the ones that don't have their Bible, Isaiah 66, 1 through 2. It is Isaiah prophesying about being humble, about being poor in spirit. Isaiah said, that is the man that God eyes is upon. Isaiah also said, heaven is his throne in this particular verse, and he said, earth is his footstool, relating to what Matthew was here teaching about being poor in spirit, about that is the man that seeks God. Luke 6, 20 through 26. As once again, Luke 6, 20 through 26, and Luke 20 through 26, Luke 6, 20 through 26, right there, simply exactly what Matthew had wrote. It just was written but roughly about 30, 40 years later, but it is exactly of the Beatitudes of what Matthew was saying. A little difference, but it is similar, and you can read those whenever you get home. Luke 6, 20 through 26. And last but not least, Hebrews 11. As once again, the book of Hebrews 11, 36 through 38. Hebrews 11, 36 through 38. As we all know, the book of Hebrews starts off in that 11th chapter by saying, now faith is the thing substance and things hoped for. But here it talks about the ones that was persecuted for righteousness. It talks about the ones that was slain for righteousness. I'm talking about people that was killed with the sword for professing the gospel, for professing that they serve Christ. Those people at that particular time didn't think that they had a reward because they was being slain and persecuted for serving Christ. But in actuality, it was upside down the way they looked at it, because the reward was in heaven in spite of them losing their lives behind the cross. At this particular time, I will look at the questions that's on page 7. And if you flip back over to your book at 5, you could see where it say Q1, Q2, Q3. That's just simply the answers to all of these questions.